I want to give you guys a little overview of this Desmos activity that you're going to use to play around with remembering how to graph lines and what it looks like to change your y-intercept and change your slope when graphing a line. This one's kind of fun. It's called Land the Plane. So this first one asks you to just move this point so you can land the plane safely. So if you're not sure how to do it, just try it. You can push submit and it'll show you what happens. So I definitely messed it up there. You can do it again. One more precise way to land the plane. Oh, I guess I don't really get an opportunity to try it again. Well, do it right the first time. Now we're putting it on a coordinate plane. So I did it too low last time, so I want to put it up here this time. Oh, and there's an equation maybe to help me out. So I see a 15 there and a minus x. So after watching my mini lesson on how to graph, maybe I remember what those numbers mean. But I could kind of eyeball where I think this is going to go. So I'll let you guys play around with that. I don't really want to push submit because I don't want you to see what happens on mine. It starts to ask you now to to write an equation. Not just move the plane around, but write the equation to direct the plane towards this runway. And if you change these numbers, see how it changes the slope of your line? Oop, that's too steep. So I'm going to be thinking about something that is less steep. 2, not steep enough. 1, well that's already, which means I need something less than 1, so a fraction. 1/2. Ooh, oh, look at that. What would you look at that? Going to the next slide. So they didn't even give us an equation to start with this time. So you're going to have to write your own equation, which is where watching that mini lesson on slope-intercept form is going to help. Because you have to write it in terms of something times x. So let's go 2x and then plus or minus another number. So if I did 2x plus 5, let's just see what happens. Whoa, that's way off. So that was a positive 2x and it's going up and down. Which means that I might want to do a negative number to make it go down. So if I did negative 2x plus 5, let's see what happens. Okay, so it's starting in the wrong place, and it's definitely going at the wrong angle. So it gives you an opportunity to play around with what those equations are going to look like when you type them in. Your goal is to get it to land on that runway. Now it's the same idea. Now that you've played around with what an appropriate equation would look like based on its slope and y-intercept, look at these two here. You can, you're just going to guess who is correct, and it's going to ask you your reasoning. And then, of course, you get to make a challenge. So you will move, you can move any of these. You can move this point up and down. You can move this point around. Your job is to make a challenge for somebody else. So make a challenge, you move it around. You do have to come up with your own equation though, so you have to type in the correct equation before submitting your challenge. So come up with some good challenges for each other. Make sure you do somebody else's challenge and create your own. Have fun with this.